Good evening, everyone, and Happy New Year to everyone as well. Let us now chant Namo Tassa as we put Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. All right. So we are supposed to start not on the next chapter, but on Panyatibheda today. Right? Lovely. So let's get started. The analysis of concepts. Therein, the material phenomena are just the aggregate of matter. Consciousness and mental factors, which comprise the four immaterial aggregates, and Nibbana are the five kinds that are immaterial. They are also called name. What remains are concepts, which are twofold. Concept, which is as that which is made known, and concept as that which makes known, right? Concept as that which is made known, and concept as that which makes known. At this point, Acharya Anuruddha has completed his exposition of the four ultimate realities, their classification in various schemata, and their treatment according to the principles of conditionality. However, he has not yet discussed concepts, panyati. Although concepts pertain to conventional reality and not ultimate reality, they are still included in the Abhidhamma by the treatise Puggala Panyati. Therefore, in the last part of chapter, he will briefly discuss concepts. They are also called name. The four immaterial aggregates are called nama, name, in the sense of bending, namana, because they bend towards the object in the act of cognizing it. They are also called nama in the sense of causing to bend, namana, since they also cause one another to bend onto the object. Nibbana is called nama solely in the sense of causing to bend. For Nibbana causes faultless states, that is, the supramundane chittas and chetasikas, to bend onto itself by acting as objective predominance. To bend onto itself by acting as an objective predominance. I hope that rings a bell. Yes. Condition. What remains are concepts. There are two kinds of concepts, Attapanyati and Namapanyati. Attapanyati or concepts as meanings. In Sinhala, Artha Prajnati. Artha. And Namapanyati or concepts as names. Right? As names. Namapanyati, Arthapanyati or Attapanyati. The former are the meanings conveyed by the concepts. The former are the meanings conveyed by the concepts. The latter, the names or designations which convey that meaning. Does that make sense? Right? Now, for example, our names, right? Our names, you and I, right? Is Namapanyati, right? Is Namapanyati. When we would call out a person's name, that name is associated by Mrs., Mr. So-and-so, is associated by the knowledge, the date that we have of that person, right? Artha Panyati, or concepts as meaning, right? Oh, there is an example as well. For example, the notion of a four-legged furry domestic animal, right? The notion of a four-legged furry domestic animal with certain physical features and traits is a concept as meaning of the term dog. The designation and idea dog is a corresponding concept as name. Does that make sense? Right? The meaning concept is a concept as that which is made known. The name concept is the concept as that which makes known. Right? As that which makes known. Now, if we are to say, I have a dog, right? If we are to say, I have a dog, right? Or we own a dog, or we have a pet dog, right? Now, in saying I have a dog, right? That would give the person who's listening, oh, they have a four-legged sort of dog, a furry animal as a pet, right? That is, the name concept is a concept which may know. The meaning concept is a concept as that which is made known, right? Through that concept of a dog, which is made known. Now, if we are to say, now to an outsider who knows this dog, your pet, right? Let us say we would call it, by its name, right? Now, to a person or people who would have met the dog, who knows the characteristic of the dog or whatnot, let us say, whatever name, what is the dog's name? Shiva, for example, right? And now, if we know Shiva, right, a dog, the dog that is owned by our friend, right? Now, the name would now tell you, oh, Shiva is an Alsatian. Shiva is a Doberman. Shiva is a very tame animal, is a disciplined animal. Get what I mean? Does that make sense? Right? Now, the name concept, the name Shiva now tells us what kind of animal or who the animal is. Yeah, the name concept. The name would advert or would give sort of specialty to that animal being owned by that person. Now, let's concept as what is made known. How? There are such terms as land, mountain, and like so designated on account of the mode of transition of the respective elements, such as house, chariot, car, and the like. So, named on account of the mode of formation of materials. Is that clear, everyone? Right? Such terms as person, individual, and the like, so named on account of the five aggregates, such terms as direction, time, and the like, named according to the revolution of the moon and so forth. Such terms, well, cave, and the like, so named on account of the mode of non-impact and so forth. Such terms as casino signs and the like, so named on account of the respective elements and distinguished mental development. All such different things, though they do not exist in ultimate sense, they become objects of consciousness in the form of shadows of things, or rather ultimate things. Shadows of ultimate things. Does that make sense, everyone? Right? What it is saying is, when it comes to, now what are we talking about? We're talking about what is made known, right? What is made known? What is made known comes under, right? Concept as meaning. The former, where did we? Oh, here. Concept twofold. Concept as that which is made known, artha panyati, and the concept which makes known, nama panyati, right? So we are talking about artha panyati, right? As here. Now, how land, mountain, when it comes to these, the examples which have been taken, these examples, the land, mountain, house, chariot, cart, individual, person, right? Well, cave, male, female, baby, child, young adult, right? All of this, right? All of these are concepts, right? Concepts which have been given meaning in the way that they have formed through ultimate reality. Through ultimate reality. Now, what when we would take, for example, a mountain, right? A mountain is a formation of rupas through ultimate reality. Is that understood, everyone? So if we are to say a mountain, just use the word mountain, what is the visual that we would have, right? We would have the visuals of generic mountains, right? Yeah, but then we would say, let us say K2, right? If we are to take K2 as an example, right? Or Kakaborazi, or the Alps, or Mount Everest, right? Now, if we are to take these words, these names of the mountain, it is different to the image that we have of the word mountain, isn't it? Right? Please advert yourself to that difference there. Is that clear? If we are to say mountain, right, the way that we would see mountain, right, we are going to climb a mountain, right? It kind of like, okay, let's climb a mountain or let's hike, right? But then if you say we are going to do Mount Everest, the feeling is completely different. Right? Let's go on a walk to Mount Everest. You get what I mean, right? So here, the Artha Panyati is, it is talking about, it's created by, it's a result of the formations and the way it is formed as a shadow, as they call it in the document, of the ultimate reality, is Rupa in this case, right? Rupa in this case. However, Nama Panyati is different, right? Nama Panyati is an accumulation of all the data that we know of the place, right? Accumulation of all the data that we know of the place. Now let us go ahead, right? They are called concepts because they are thought of, reckoned, understood, expressed, and made known on account of, in consideration of, with respect to this or that mode. It's a mountain, it's land, it's a tree, right? It's a flower, right? This kind of concept is called because it is made known. How do we know that it is called a mountain? How do we know that the color red is known as red? Because it is made known. This is the way අපි යම්කිසි මේ පරමාර්ථ ධර්මයන්ගෙන් සකස් වුණා වූ මේ අරමුණට අපි යම්කිසි විදිහට මේ අරමුණ දිහා බලන්න හෝ ඒ යම්කිසි වචනයක් දෙනවා මේ අරමුණට. Right? We give a sense of meaning to that form, or rather, to that sort of visual or whatever phenomena that might be. Yeah. Now, concept as what is made known is the same as meaning concept, attapanyati. Here, the author enumerates different types of meaning concepts. Land, mountains, etc. are called in Pali Santana Panyati, formal concepts, since they correspond to the form or configuration of things. The form or consideration of things. Right. Now, to draw an example, if you have to say we are looking at a gathering of people, right? We can say, oh, there is a large gathering of people, right? And then we can say, oh, so and so is here, so and so is here, so and so, that person, they've come from far, this person. Do you get what I mean? What you would understand, oh, there's a large gathering, and then when you go on to naming so and so, it is quite a different feeling that arises. Now, house, chariot, village, etc. are called samuha panyati, right? Samuha panyati, collective concepts, since they correspond to a collection or group of things, right? Santana panyati, right? Land, mountain, these things, right? Santana panyati. House, chariot, village, because when there are so many houses, right, it is a village. But how is a house made? There's wood in it, there's cement, there's bricks, all of that, right? Samuha panyati. Samuha, it is a collective. Samuha means collective. When these things, now let us say, a chair, right? A chair can be made out of a number of materials, right? There can be leather on a chair, there can be padding on a chair, there can be wood, there can be plastic, rubber, there can be nails, all of these different materials, right? Now, let us say this chair, right? Let's say, an IKEA chair or whatnot, if we were to deconstruct it, right? Or rather, before we construct a chair, IKEA would send it in a box, no? Before we construct it into a chair, what would it be known as? Then we would see the wood, the nails, whatever materials which would go into making a chair. Being a bit more dexterous, maybe we can turn the materials that were made to make a chair into a table, let us say. Do you get what I mean? Right? Now, the samuha panyati calls when the materials are in such a form, exists in such a form, it is known as a house, a chariot, a table, a chair, a stool, a coffee table, a dining table. Do you understand? Right? Samuha panyati, collective concepts. These, since they correspond to a collection or group of things. East-west, disa panyati. Local concepts, since they correspond to a locality or direction, right? Since they correspond to a locality or direction. Morning, noon, week, month, kala panyati. temporal concepts since they correspond to periods or units of time, right? Well, cave, etc. Akasa prajnapti. Akasa prajnapti. Spatial concepts, since they correspond to spatial regions void of perceptible matter. Regions void of perceptible matter, right? Akasa prajnapti. Is that clear what akasa prajnapti is? Right. Sorry, Dil, what are you trying to say? Can't really hear you.
I'm sorry, Bhante, to say it. It's spatial concepts.
Spatial concepts. Spatial, since they correspond to spatial regions void of perceptible matter. Thank you, Dil. The kasina signs are called nimitta pannapti, right? Sign concepts, since they correspond to mental signs gained by meditative development, right? Meditative development. Concept as what makes known. Then, as it makes known, it is called concept. It is described as name, nomenclature, etc. It is sixfold. 1, a direct concept of the real. Right? Now, first of all, have we understood this part about Santana Prajnapti? Any questions? Samuha Pannapti, Disa Pannapti, Kala Prajnapti, Akasa Prajnapti, Nimitta Prajnapti. So when it comes to Artha Prajnapti can be defined, the different types of prajna into these different types: Santana, Samuha, Disa, Kala, Akasa, Nimitta Prajnapti. Yes, dear.
And then, so, am I right in thinking Artha Pannapti is in English, Artha Pannapti is in Sinhalese? Oh,
yes.
Fine. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bhante.
Prajnapti. Right. I think the Prajnapti is like Prajnapti.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, Bhante.
One. Now we are going on to what makes known. Right. Nama Prajnapti. It is sixfold. Direct concept of the real. 2.
Yeah.
Direct concept of the unreal. 3. A concept of the unreal by means of the real. 4. A concept of the real by means of the unreal. 5. A concept of the real by means of the real. 6. A concept of the unreal by means of the unreal. As for instance, when it makes known what really exists in the ultimate sense by a term such as matter, feeling, and so forth, it is called a direct concept of the real. Again, as for instance, when it makes known what really exists in the ultimate sense by a term such as matter, feeling, and so forth, it is called a direct concept of the real. Okay. Damsari, do you want to say something?
Yeah. This is mainly those who have not realized the meaning of feeling, right? If you just call somebody and say this is the feeling, so he take it as a concept, not as a real. But in order to change from concept to real, there's a process through which you have to do the actual realization, right? vitakka, vichara, and then through meditation, you convert your concept into real. Am I right? Well, that's what I heard in various books.
Well, it all depends on the standpoint from which we are trying to subjectively see what this is.
Yeah, okay.
Now let us go to the second one here. When it makes known what does not exist in the ultimate sense by a term such as land, mountain, and so forth, it is called a direct concept of the unreal. Right? So here, from the second one, we kind of can understand further into what the first one is talking about. Right? This is talking about experience. Right? And how we experience. Right? The experience being mental or physical, regardless, right? Regardless, how we would relate to that specific experience. Now, when we are relating to matter, feeling, and so forth, right? Now, let us take the chair, right? Let us take the chair as an example. If we are definite that this chair, right, we only see a chair, right? We do not see the potential of a table. We do not see a potential of a stool. We do not see the potential of anything else other than this phenomena being a chair. Right? Now, as for instance, when it makes known what really exists in the ultimate sense by a term such as matter, feeling, and so forth, it is called a direct concept of the real. Right? Now, let us say a person who's working in a lab, whose primary function or employment, or the way that the person is trained to think, is to see, let us say, the physical and the metaphysical, right? Or let us just say the physical attributes or something, right? And classes it as matter. Now, not a Buddhist or anything of the sort, not an Abhidhamma student or anything of the sort, right? But sees the reality of what phenomena is before him. Right? That would be a direct concept of the real. This is about perceival. Right? This is about perceival. What makes known, when it makes known what does not really exist in the ultimate sense, such as land, mountain, and so forth. It is called a direct concept of the unreal. Right? A direct concept of the unreal. It is a formation of those phenomena. In an ultimate sense, it does not exist to be a mountain. It does not exist, but the phenomena is of such a manner. Right? So, in an ultimate sense, what we are seeing is matter. But we are giving it a sense of, let us say, life by saying land, mountain, and so forth. Right? Let us move on and then come back to questions, if any. The rest should be respectively understood by combining both as, for instance, possessor of the sixfold direct knowledge, women's voice, I consciousness, king's son, right? The rest should be respectively understood by combining both as, for instance, the possessor of the sixfold direct knowledge, the woman's voice, I consciousness, king's son. Right? king's son. These are all positions or the way that we come to know phenomena. Right? The way that we come to know phenomena. When we would say the possessor of the sixfold direct knowledge, that would speak to us, to give us a certain image, right? A woman's voice, which does not exist in an ultimate sense, but when the phenomena manifests in such a manner, it is known to be so, right? Known to be so. The king's son. Remember that what are we discussing? What makes known, right? Then, as it makes known, it is called concept. It is described as name or nomenclature. Right? That's the important part there. It makes us know something of that. A woman's voice, the voice, shabda, but not just a shabda, a female sound, a female's voice, right? I consciousness, not just the consciousness, but I consciousness. Do you understand? Right? The king's son, not a son of just anyone, but the king's son. Yeah? All right. Now, guide to 31. Right? Concept as what makes known is the same as name concept, nama panyat. Again, the author provides an enumeration of instances. Direct knowledge concept of the real, matter, feelings, etc. are ultimate realities. Therefore, the concepts that designate them are direct concept of the real, meaning the concept and its real existence is parallel. Do you understand? Is parallel. Matter, and it is actually matter. Right? What if a woman and then matter? The concept of the unreal. Do you understand? The concept of the unreal. A direct concept of the unreal, land, mountain, are not ultimate realities, but conventional entities established conceptually through mental construction. We are taught to see this as a land, as mountains. Isn't it, everyone? Right? Through mental construction. Though these concepts are based on ultimate entities, the meanings they convey are not things that are themselves ultimate entities, since they do not correspond to things that exist by way of their own intrinsic nature, sabhava, sabhavato or sabhava lakkana. Right? The rest should be respectively understood. Here, the possessor of the sixfold direct knowledge is a concept of the unreal by means of the real. Right? By means is a concept of the unreal by means of the real. Right? Now let's come back to this. Concept of real, concept of unreal. Right? Do we remember? Here the examples were matter, feeling, rupa, vedana, sanya, sankhara, vinyana. Right? Real. The concept of the unreal, land, mountains, female, male, boy, UK, Sri Lanka, India. Yeah. Concept of the unreal. Right? The rest should be understood respectively. possessor of sixfold direct knowledge is a concept of the unreal by means of the real. Okay. Now, concept of the unreal, possessor. Okay. Concept of the unreal. Is everyone with me? Concept of the unreal. What is that relating to? The word possessor. Right. By means of the real. What is that referring to? Sixfold direct knowledge. Does that make sense, everyone? The sixfold direct knowledge is a consciousness. Right? Can that, remember chapter 1, one way that we spoke about this is what exists in an ultimate sense. Rupa, Chitta, Chetasika, Rupa. Right? Nibbana. What? Chitta, Chetasika, Rupa. Rupa, Chitta. Oh, wait.
It's not like it's Rupa, and then it goes to ultimate reality. So it's consciousness, mental factors, matter, and Nibbana.
Thank you. Rupa, Chitta, Chetasika, Nibbana. The four ultimate realities, right? The four ultimate realities, they can't be broken down. Was one way that we spoke of whilst we were just initiating the first chapter, remember. You can't break it down any further, right? The possessor, can it be broken down or not? It can. Now, this possessor can be a man, can be a woman, can be a child, can be a young adult, can be a person who has a history of something, right? There can be so many stories associated with who this person, this possessor is, right? Sixfold direct knowledge. When it comes to the sixfold direct knowledge, which is consciousness, Vijnana, Sankhara, right? We are being very specific here to say that it's a sixfold direct knowledge. Can that sixfold direct knowledge be further broken down? It can't. Concept of the unreal by means of the real. By means of the real. Let's go ahead, right? Since the direct knowledges are ultimately real, but the possessor is a mental construction. But the possessor is a mental construction. Okay? Since a possessor is a mental construction. Woman's voice is a concept of the real by means of the unreal. Unreal, woman, voice, real. Right? Now let us take the first and the second. Possessor of ultimate, the possessor of the sixfold direct knowledges, and then the woman's voice, right? Possessor, unreal, sixfold direct knowledges, real. Woman, unreal, voice, real, right? Shabda, right? Real. Now, possessor, we are speaking possessor of the sixfold direct knowledge. The concept of the unreal by means, now we are talking about the possessor here. There's a bit of a grammar as well here. We are talking about the possessor. Possessor of what? Possessor of something. What is that something? Sixfold direct knowledges. We are talking about the possessor, which is unreal, through something that is real. We are talking about something that can be broken down further by means of something which cannot be broken down any further. Do you understand, everyone? Right? The woman's voice. The voice is real. Shabda, woman is unreal, is a concept. So now we are talking about now we are talking about something which is yes, Dhamma. Wait. Woman's voice is a concept of the real by means of the unreal. Now we are relating to the voice. But what? Woman's voice. Now, let us say, now Shabda. Now there are some men who have very feminine voices. Right? So, do you get what I'm coming at now? Right? There are women with masculine sounding voices. Right? Just because you might be of a certain sex would not mean that you would have that specific sound. Right? Now we are talking about a sound which is real, right? Through something which is unreal, which is the concept of a woman. Is that understood? Right? This is talking about the way that we perceive. This is talking about the way that we perceive. That perception. How does that perception arise? Right? Is a concept of the real by means of the unreal. We are talking about the sound, the concept of the real, by means, it's a woman's sound, unreal. Since the sound of the voice ultimately exists, but not the woman. Since the sound of the voice ultimately exists, but not the woman. Why, you ask? Did you ask why?
Yes, Bhante, because woman also a matter.
Is it?
Yeah, matter.
Is
I
it?
think here we have to consider the one object, right? One object, voice is the main object.
Yeah.
And the woman can be real actually, but in this particular woman is just woman's voice, because you have to understand the meaning, the grammatical meaning, the woman's voice. So
Yes.
the unreality is coming because of the addendum to the object.
Correct.
Right?
It is again, that is why I mentioned there's a bit of grammar here.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because it is the woman's voice.
Yeah.
Right? Now here again, the woman, right? The voice is a sound. Is shabda. Right? Is shabda. Now, shabda, what is a shabda? A woman's voice. The woman's voice being the woman, here is the concept.
Yeah.
Right? But a concept, right? Concept. In concepts, nama prajnapti, atta prajnapti, ultimate reality and conventional reality, right? Paramatta satcha and conventional reality, sammuti satcha, right? Woman would fall under sammuti satcha.
Yes.
Right? Woman would fall under sammuti satcha, conventional reality. Shabda is talking about ultimate reality. Shabda.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, yes.
If I change this one to voice of the woman, voice of the woman,
then it would change to voice of the woman. No? The woman's
Woman is the reality. Real, yes. Woman is the real.
then, if we are to word it,
Yeah.
right, the concept of the real by means of the unreal, right? Then you have to switch it.
Yeah, okay.
The real through the unreal.
Yeah.
Right. Now, this is not to say that women don't exist or men don't exist. Let's not take it into
It's deep
because
logic.
it's a sensitive topic at this time as well. So let's not go there. What we are relating to is this, right? A woman and a sound. These are the two that we are working with, a woman and a sound. The sound is of the woman, or the woman's sound, or the woman's voice, right? The sound relates to directly something which exists. I mean, the sound in ultimate realities cannot be further broken down. A woman can, because a woman is a formation of physicality, right? A woman can be further broken down. Can a sound be further broken down as ultimate, right? Now, then I would say, if I was, if we are talking about ABCs of Sammuti, sound can be broken down, right? If you take a sound, right? And if you're talking about a sound clip of, let us say, 10 seconds, right? That 10-second sound, yeah, we can sort of break it into pieces. But that is not what we are talking about here. We are talking about the intrinsic nature of sound. Remember that, right? Intrinsic quality and nature of sound, that frequency, the way that their rupa exists, that rupa cannot be further broken down, right? So according to, if you're looking at it from, remember, we are now discussing this. We discussed Prajnapti earlier. Now we are discussing, we discussed Prajnapti before the start of the first chapter. Now we are discussing Prajnapti after having done Chitta, Chaitasika, Rupa and Rupa, right? We finished the whole book, right? So we cannot look at it as we once looked at before the book. We had to look at it from the sense of what we have learned from the book, right? Here, Shabda as a nature cannot be further broken down. A woman is a concept, right? A woman is a concept, right? We are not talking about a word. We are talking about physical, the physical. Now the word, let us say the woman says, how are you? Now let us take how. We are not talking about how. We are talking about the sound, the woman's voice. Do you understand? Which cannot be broken down, right? The woman, however, can. How, whether it be a man or a woman or any person, that name that we've given to categorize her as such or him as such, right, can be further broken down, right? We are talking, a woman is when the rupas are existent minus masculine gender plus feminine gender. As if you're taking from the point of view of the 28 rupas, right? From the 28 rupas. Now, do you get what I mean? Yeah. So a woman would have 26 rupas, right? Operating. 27 rupas, 27, right? Minus masculine, right? A man would have 27 minus feminine, right? Now, when it comes to that concept of man or woman is a concept that can be further broken down. Does that make sense? Yes, still.
What I can't understand is different to what Dhamma Center is saying. In this passage, right, if you were to read, that the rest should be respectful, and here, possessor of the sixfold, and that is the Abhidhamma, is a concept of the unreal by means of the real, since the direct knowledges are ultimately real. Those I divine and the sound and all those other things, the divine I and past lives and reading other people's thoughts. That I understand. Then it says it's a concept of the unreal by means of the real. Then it says since the direct knowledges are ultimately real, but the possessor is a mental concept. Up to there I understood. Now it says a woman's voice. So a woman's voice is the same as a man's voice. It can't be different. A woman's voice, a child's voice, a man's voice. So woman's voice is a concept of the real by means of the unreal. Okay. Then why is, but when you say it's a king's son, is a concept of the unreal way of the unreal. So when you say king, it's a concept of the unreal, because king can be broken down, so that's fine. But when you say it's a woman's voice, now it is the real by means of the unreal. So why is there a difference in woman and in king? Because
definitely misogynistic.
So I couldn't understand that. After whether it's a king's voice or queen's voice or whether it's a woman or man.
All right, hold on. Right. This is down to grammar. The possessor, right? The possessor is nominative. Sixfold direct knowledges is
Abhidhamma.
Is not Abhidhamma. Is it instrumental or genitive?
The direct knowledge consciousness.
Hold on. Possessor of sixfold direct knowledge. Genitive case. It's genitive. Is it genitive?
Yes.
It's genitive, right? Possessor is nominative. Sixfold direct knowledge is genitive case. It's English grammar, right? Now, a woman's voice, the voice is nominative and the woman is genitive. The king's son, right? Who are we talking about? The son. The king's son. Actually, can be king, the king's son. No, we are talking about the son. Who is the son? The king's. It's grammar, that's why. That's why I reminded in the beginning, this is about how we perceive.
Yeah.
Because when we are looking at a concept, everyone, right? You can look at a tree, you can look at a rock, right? We both can be looking at a rock. You might think, this is ultimate reality in this sort of formation. I might look at it and say, nice rock. Get what I mean?
Yes, Bhante, but you are not saying the son is of the king, correct? The important is son, but he's the king's son. So the voice is also of a woman.
Yeah.
So I think that's still possessive.
Right. Let me come down.
So in other words, if it was the queen's son, then it's unreal by way of unreal. But and if it was a man's voice, it's real by means of the unreal. Is that what you're saying, Bhante? But if you're saying that, and the other thing is, these direct knowledges that they refer here doesn't refer to the Abhidhamma page 142. No, something else.
No, it does. It absolutely.
Yes. So those are the So there are 5 kinds of mundane direct knowledges, right? The supramundane powers, the divine ear, the divine eye, and these seeing other people's thoughts and all these things that you get of the 5th jhana chittas, right? So that is okay. But what I don't understand is, one is real by means of unreal when it's woman voice, and the king's son on the one is unreal by way of unreal. But after all, the voice belongs to the woman, the son belongs to the king. So if it was saying woman's voice, where you have put the highlight, if it was a man's voice, would it still be the real by means of the unreal? And if at the bottom the king's son becomes a queen's son, like in Queen Elizabeth's son, Charles, is the concept of the unreal that is still remains unreal by way of the unreal. I don't see where the gender comes. It's a possession. No? The son is possessed by the king, or whether the son is possessed by the queen. It should all be the same, right? I don't see how grammar can change with or the sex can change, because the sex, as you
No,
mentioned,
this is nothing to do about sex.
yeah, that's right. So nothing to do with gender. At
No
least
gender.
I'm on that page. So that's why when you would refer to the king or the queen, you said 27, because out of the 28, if the man is removed off, it becomes 27. So that I fully understand. What I don't understand is that, anyway, it doesn't matter. I don't want to waste time on the class. It's just that I'm too thick to understand, because you both got these possessing, correct. The voice is important, but whose is the voice? It's a woman's. Whose is the son? The king's. So if the woman's voice is said real by means of the unreal, I fully accept it. But then if it was a man's voice, would it still be real by means of the unreal? Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. But then why is now whether it's the king's son or the queen's son, both is unreal by way of the unreal, correct?
Yes.
Yes, correct. So that I understood.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, so therefore the king as well as the woman, right? The woman is real, but the king or the queen, we said queen, we don't want to get sex into this. So gender, sorry, we don't want to get gender into it because we can confuse. So we just get the gender. I'm sorry, but they don't mean to be to waste time. But we just to make the same gender, woman's voice or here, and queen's son. So this both the genders are female. So now it's both the same. But why would a woman be real by means of the unreal, and why would the queen be unreal by way of the unreal? That's what, because after all, the queen, this is the son possessed by the
Let me explain.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what I don't understand. Nothing to do with the gender, but
Right.
grammatically, there's no difference between any of these things. They're all the voice belonging to the woman. I only don't understand why in that first they said real by the unreal, and in that second example they say unreal by way of the. But it doesn't matter, Bhante. Don't waste time. It's only just a one line.
No, wait, I'm going to explain it. Hold your horses, please.
Okay, I don't want to waste time on the class, Bhante.
Right.
It's a class of about 15 people. Right.
Yes, Padma. Padma.
Actually, it's a mistake. I mean, my hand wasn't raised, but I'm also completely confused. But
Okay.
so I'll be glad of the explanation again.
Oh, all right. Now, the possessor of the sixfold direct knowledge. Now, you don't have to be thinking about it is the Abhinyana Chittas. The Chittas are Paramatta Dhamma. Paramatta Dhamma is not broken down. However, possessor can be.
Yeah.
Right.
Correct.
So, right. Now let us, possessor can be. So this is unreal, this is real. Okay. So what are we talking about? We are talking about the someone who has the sixfold direct knowledges. This someone can be broken down. So we are talking about the someone who has the sixfold direct knowledge. So concept of the unreal by means of the real. Right. Now, woman's voice. We are talking about the voice, which is of a woman. Right? Woman's voice. The voice is Shabda. Right? Which is real. The woman is further divisible into 27 material aggregates. Hence, unreal. Right? Even if it is a man's voice, it will be the same.
Thank
right?
you.
So we are talking about the real through the concept of the unreal. All right. Now, I consciousness is a concept of the real by means of the real. Right? We are talking about I consciousness, Chakku Vinyana, real, by concept of the real. Right? Now, if I am to add something here as an example, I saw a woman through the I consciousness. The concept of the unreal through the real. Got it? Okay. Since both eye sensitivity and eye consciousness depend on the existence of ultimate sense. There you go.
I understand Bhante now. Because the king and the son
All
are
right, now let me explain. Hurry. Now, kings.
Because if it was the king's voice, it would have been the same. If it was the king's here, if it was the king's voice, then
Exactly.
it would be considered real by me. Yeah, Bhante.
Right now,
Brain.
king's son, unreal. Right? Concept of the unreal by way of the unreal.
Yeah,
Since
correct.
neither king nor son ultimately exists.
Yeah. If
Right.
it was king's voice, it would have still been there. So that would be
So
because
if
the
it's the
sun
king's
would have been
voice,
unreal.
concept of the real through the unreal.
Thank you, Bhante. Perfect
Right.
point. Because the difference is not the gender, but not grammar. It's just the voice and the sun. Because the sun is not ultimate reality. Neither is the woman and neither is the king. But the voice is ultimate reality because it's Shabda. So that's where the difference. Thank you, Bhante. Sorry for the time. Thank you. While all the other things, eye consciousness, they're all real because they're absolute reality. So that's why eye sensitivity, consciousness, they all exist in the ultimate sense. But neither the king or the woman or the sun exist. So they are the unreal.
Actually, no. I mean, you can't say that it is nothing to do with the grammar. It is everything to do with the grammar.
Okay, Bhante.
Because here, if we are to take, for example, the Pali, now we can't really see it with the English as much because we don't look at English in that manner. Right?
Okay,
With Pali, if you're talking about the woman's voice, a person might think, we're talking about the woman who has a voice. No, it's the voice that is of the woman.
Okay.
Right?
Those are the ones.
It is everything to do with the grammar. Right?
It's because of the way in the
King's
Pali we put
son.
under.
Yeah. King's son. We are talking about the son who happens to be the king's. Right? It is the grammar. Right? How we perceive. Right?
In Pali, how we perceive. Okay. In English, we say it's the voice of the woman, or we say it's the son of the king. But in Pali, the Shabda, Gandha, and Dhamma are real consciousness. So it's the grammar that we use in Pali. Thank you, Bhante. I followed. Thank you very much for your time.
Padma, was that clear? Makes sense. So
I'm wondering, anything that can be broken into is unreal. Is that correct? Like a woman can be broken into, finally into whatever.
27 material aggregates. So that was the main definition that we studied initially, which was Paramatma Satya cannot be broken down. It exists in its ultimate form. Sammuti Satya can be broken down. So when we say man or woman, these are Sammuti Satyas that can be broken down.
Okay. So the king and the son can both be broken down, so they're both unreal.
Both are
get it now. Thank you.
Okay. Right. Now, for example, if we are to take the king's son, right? The king's son. The son can also be a husband. The son can also be a nephew. Get what I mean? The king can be a father. He can be a husband. He can be a grandfather. Get what I mean? He can be a bad king, a good king, a righteous king, a thief. All of these things, right? Even a woman, right? The shop, those things, these things, it doesn't exist in its ultimate form, right? They can be many things, but at this time, we are only talking about his role as a king and the king's son, right? When we take, for example, eye consciousness, can the eye consciousness be the ear consciousness? Or the nose, the tongue, the body? It can't. Can a shabda be a gandha? It can't. Do you get what I mean?
Bhante, that's why I said now, see, Shabda can't be Gandha. That is the Pali grammar. Now in English, a voice can be a sweet voice, a harsh voice, a loud voice, soft voice. That's why that kind of grammatical, the way when you think in English, you don't think, right? So like our son can be a father, son, or the king can be good or bad, or woman can be a voice. But when you say smell, taste, sound, now that's those absolute words. The confusion is because they have used voice. because voice it doesn't go. Now we know eye sensitivity, we know all the nose sensitivity, and we call those as terms. But we don't tell in the absolute sense, we don't use the word voice anywhere. We say sight and it's sound, and we say that's what the way we say. So the confusion was that word there, the English word that they've used there. If they say the sound, because that's not how we in English way, we just say harsh sound, sweet sound, whatever, loud sound, soft sound, anything, screeching sound we can say. But so those are still will be unreal. But when you say sabda, that is real, because that's sabda gandha and all the rest of it. That's what the confusion here was. Anyway, thank you, Bhante. Thank you very much.
Yes. Now, moving on, summary. Now, by following the sound of speech, through the process of ear consciousness, and then by means of the concept conceived by mindo that subsequently arises, meanings are understood. These concepts should be understood as fashioned by worldly convention. Again, by following the sound of speech through the process of ear consciousness, and then by means of the concept conceived by mindo that subsequently arises, meanings are understood. These concepts should be understood as fashioned by worldly convention. Right? If we are to hear Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa, we would know that it's a religious occurrence. Right? If the same words were heard by a person who is not familiar with our terminology or the way that we pronounce or whatnot, it would be understood otherwise. Right? These concepts should be understood as fashioned by worldly convention. Right? By worldly conventions. Is that understood, everyone? We are a part of that worldly convention, do not forget. Right? The way that our processors work is a part of that worldly convention. Right? Yeah. Thus ends the 8th chapter in the manual of Abhidhamma, entitled The Compendium of Conditionality. All right, everyone. This is the Prajnapti.
Bhante,
Yes.
can I ask last question?
Yes.
Bhante, when it comes to, can you go back to the direct concept of real?
Here we go.
Right? Yeah. Now, why you call it direct concept of real for the ultimate realities?
The direct concept of the real. Mamama meka dakina hinda. Matama mema ahena hinda.
Okay.
The direct. I am directly perceiving this.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Through eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, I'm perceiving this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The answer. Yeah. Thank you.
Right. Any other questions, anyone? Right. So next time we will be starting on compendium of meditation subjects. Right? Meditation subjects. Now, of course, we have very well completed. Actually, we've gone through these parts through our sutra studies, through our other sort of studies we have. So during this period, whilst this chapter will not be of great weight and heaviness to you, I would like for you to go into Sampayoga Sangraha, right? And revise Sampayoga Sangraha, please. Right? The numbers, right? During this time that we are doing this last chapter, because of course, study, but slowly as we sort of do the last chapter, revise your Sampayoga Sangraha, right? Sampayoga Sangraha, and make sure that you are up to date with the Sampayoga and the Sangraha, which is, remember what the Sampayoga Sangraha is? Sampayoga Sangraha is the Chitta and the Chaitasika unities.
There's various combinations, yeah.
Combinations, right? The combinations, revise that, because afterwards, then we can get started on Dhamma Sangani, right? So after this, we can go into Dhamma Sangani, and for that we need Sampayoga and Sangraha. Very well, right? So Sampayoga Sangraha, and also sort of look at the rupas, right? What are the types of rupas? Kammaja, Chitta, the Aharaja, Utuja, right? What is a Kalapa? Start revising that part of things, right? Because you will need all of that when we go into Dhamma Sangani, because this chapter will be a lot of reading, a lot of discussion with regards to the meditation, right? Is that understood and clear, everyone? Right? Good. So I will leave you there, and I'm looking forward to going and dwelling deeper into Buddhism and, of course, our practices in this year. All the very best, and I will see you on Wednesday for the Sutra class, everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you.